Good morning, everybody. I'm coming on to you live with the big question for foreigners that are based in China. Have you actually evaluated your salary compensation according to the so-called new regulations that will start in January 2022? I raise this question because there are still inquiries that are coming in from expats or foreigners that are even on local packages that are based in China that have not yet done simulations on how these new regulations are going to impact them. I'm going to give you a bit of a backstory. The backstory is that mainland Chinese individuals in China don't receive any form of allowances as tax deductibles. Foreigners, on the other side, get a whole series of allowances which are tax deductible, which offer a great advantage to them in the Chinese market. The Chinese government has come out saying that starting from Jan 1, 2022, 3 allowances will be revoked and will no longer be used as tax deductions. And that's housing allowances, educational allowances, and language learning or language training allowances. So these 3 items will be removed. All the other allowances will remain. But naturally, these 3, particularly the housing and the education, are a huge component to the total compensation that foreigners receive in China, particularly if you have more than 1 or 2 children in going to school there. So there are rumors and there is an advocacy going on through the chambers of commerce, through the ambassadors to try and postpone this removal of these allowances. However, there's been no information from the government on what that situation is, and it's sort of a waiting game now. However, I'm a big believer in being proactive and getting prepared, both from a company perspective and an employee perspective, to understand exactly where you fall into should this law come into implementation. Our biggest recommendation is to start a conversation, try to get simulations done to understand what your net loss will be if these 3 items are not tax deductible for you, so that you can take away and make a decision whether remaining in China under such conditions is advantageous, whether the company is going to cover that loss that you are expecting, or what the situation will be. You know, I'm a big believer in that decisions have to be made. So it is important to do these simulations, understand what your loss is, and understand who's going to cover it or whether you want to remain in the market. We have seen, due to COVID, obviously, but also for this reason of these taxes, an exodus of foreigners from the Chinese market. A lot of questions have arisen, why is China doing this? Since on one level they're promoting that they want foreign talent to come in. I think it's a variety of reasons. I think living in a place like Shanghai or Beijing, and even in some of the tier 2 cities, it's no longer a hardship expatriation as it used to be 20, 30 years ago. And in addition to that, the government is trying to create a fair playing field in terms of salaries and tax deductions for both mainland Chinese as well as foreigners. So I understand the position of the government trying to raise the bar and say, we're not a hardship. It's not a hardship expatriation any longer. The country has grown. It's modernized. And, and we want... Obviously, we want more of our local mainland Chinese to be hired than necessarily foreigners. Many foreign companies still expatriate people to have a foreigner on the ground, to act as the bridge, the cultural bridge, the communication bridge, which is completely understandable. But I just believe the Chinese government is trying to minimize this. So the takeaway for today is, will you have a loss come fiscal year 2022? What will that loss look like? Have you evaluated with your company what you're going to do? These are all question marks that you have to start investigating, particularly as we are mid-September. So review your contracts, try and conduct simulations, and try to talk to your company, or vice versa. I'm speaking to the companies, talk to your employees about what's going to happen and who's going to take a hit off of that loss. If you've got any questions regarding this or you need help to draft simulations, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to help. Have a great day. Take care and goodbye.